Jason Walker Tea Review. It's show and tell time here again, and today we have Adagio's White Symphony. We'll be talking about White Symphony, which is actually a kind of bimodan white peony. So we're going to get some into our tasting cup, get it ready to go. Spread a little bit out here to talk about that as well. Let's get this rinsed off, started, ready to go. Of course, this is the show and the tell. Tell you about the tea that we experience, show the results of what we have. Okay, so we're rinsed, we're warmed up. Gonna let this one sit aside for a while. Let me sit this down out of the way. All right, you go right over here. Adagio's White Symphony, a kind of bimodan sample size such as this. Let's go ahead and set this down and get a close-up. As I was saying, sample size $2. Okay, instructions, steeping guidelines provided there. 180 degrees, steep time of 7 minutes. That's longer than a lot of other teas that we have, but the reason is that they're wanting a lower temperature and allowing you to draw more of the flavors out. White tea, this does have this is the white tea characteristics, some white tea characteristics, which means it's more delicate, which means you don't want to boil or cook it in very high temperature water. So that's the logic there. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our, well, before we look at our leaves, let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about white peony or bimodan. Again, you're expecting some white tea, some silver needle ingredient, which means you're going to have the fuzzy little tips of the white teas. You're also going to have a green tea element, which will have some fuller, larger, more mature leaves. So you will see some green-looking leaves as well. This originated from Fujian province, and it was an interesting way for farmers or the tea growers to combine some leaves that were not up to par for a white tea harvest, but yet made a good blend with some of the tips that were available that may not have gone well by themselves. So you brought them together, and this created the white peony. Now, what we're expecting is a little bit of a starchy element. We're expecting lighter flavors or profile than compared to a green tea. What else? You have a starchy element, a little bit of a cucumber element, some kind of, you may have a sweet clover aspect to it as well. Those are some of the things that we may see, and we'll talk about more as we go along. For now, let's go down and take a look at the leaf. We have Mr. Paperclip there as a point of reference. Now, one of the things I did notice about White Symphony from Adagio, I found what appeared to be a higher count of needles, of tips in this, much tippier. I'm lining up tips, fuzzy pieces all around my paperclip there. Quite a few, as you can see. Still more. Those are the silvery color that you have there. And then we do have some leaf pieces as well. But by and large, at least in this little pinch, we did have more of the tips. Okay, which generally indicates a higher quality white tea, or I should say a bimodan. If it's a higher quality, you generally see more of the white tips, fewer of the green leaves. Okay, so that's a point that you may want to consider as you're examining or comparing white peonies. Okay, so now let's go ahead, get ready for our next point. Talk a little bit about, we haven't let this steep for a full 7 minutes. So what we're going to be doing is to kind of condense our time. We've talked about this tasting and again previous tastings that we've done off camera that give us a fuller range of profile. Teas can taste differently from the first steep to the second steep. So you want to be able to talk about what's happening kind of overall as well. So let's give this a shot. We should have something worth noting. Yeah, we've got some color coming out quite a bit there. So yes, let's see what we have. Yeah, that's respectable. That's a good representation. Yeah. Now, if I had steeped this longer, what you would likely have seen is a deeper color, a darker color, probably closer to a light brown. But what we have with us right now, still deeper yellow. I like my little needle that escaped. I don't know if you can see that, but one needle did slip through, and he's kind of standing straight up, just kind of floating, dancing around, watching everything that's happening. So you've got a nice rich color there. Clarity and brightness are good. So one of the things that I noticed, yes, also because it does have more tips to it, the down from those tips is released into our drink here as well. So that's a noteworthy element. Higher amount of tips, you could expect to see more down floating in your cup. Okay, so let's give this a shot. Some of the things we do not expect from a white tea. White teas are generally have little to no bitterness to them. They can have some astringency to them. They have a kind of a dry texture as they finish. Again, also in the finish, you have a little bit of a kind of a sweet aftertaste or note to it. So we're going to see if we have those as well. Still quite warm. Yeah, I'm getting that kind of a starchy element to it, but it's not overpowering. So which is good because, like I said, it does have a kind of a cucumber, a spring, early cucumber sweetness to it, delicateness to it there, and yet it also has a kind of a starchy element, like a banana kind of starchy feeling, or possibly a kind of raw potato starchy texture to it. But the starchiness is in a good balance with the sweetness and the cucumber texture there. Now, aftertaste, it is present. It stays with you. It does give you those. It continues to stay with you. Dryness or astringency is on par, not too heavy. Good element there, expected element there. So to kind of round everything out, yes, we had a balance of flavors, not overpowering in one way or another, which was good. We could have seen a fuller profile. There could have been a little lightly honeyed element to it, lightly clover, sweet clover type element to it, but that wasn't there either. So we could have had a little bit of a stronger aftertaste as well, because there wasn't a flavor. It didn't really carry and remain with us through the whole enjoyment process. So could have had stronger flavors while still being in balance, a longer finish, but overall we have a 90 for Adagio's effort here. We look forward to seeing more of this kind of by Modan. Again, something to consider. This one seemed to have a higher content of tips or needles to it, which was a sign of greater quality. So, this was Adagio's White Symphony. We said it was sample size for about $2. I'm Jason Walker, and this is Walker Tea Review.